about ready to go live on the radio shields. If you're anywhere in Tyneside, you'll be able to tune in to us tonight. We're live on YouTube. We're in a place that's supposedly extremely haunted. A lot of ghost groups do come down here and get a lot of amazing stuff. Dead Air has been in this place numerous times before. One of the first ever ghost hunts back in 2009 was down here, and then about 2 years ago, just before the pandemic started, we were in here. The video is on the YouTube channel. You can go in there, you can watch it. We've got the whole history of this place. If you haven't recognised it, we are in Washington. Behind me, just over a couple of fences behind me, probably drive past it several times, and that is NELSAM. And then obviously behind us is the place we are going into tonight, the Northeast Land, Sea and Aircraft Museum. Said to be one of the most haunted places in the northeast of England. It's got many stories linked to it as well. Not many people knew this, in fact. Sunderland had an airport. It used to. It's now on the site of those hangars. That factory behind me, that's NELSAM. Everybody in the northeast knows somebody who either worked or works at NELSAM. RAF Uxbridge, that was the name of the airfield that was on this site. Served in 2 world wars, the First World War and in the Second World War. Became a flying school for many years, and then obviously in the 1980s the land around there was sold off and it became what is now the NELSAM factory. So if we just pan the camera around, you're going to see the place that we are going into tonight. You can see we've got lights on at the minute, but it's going to go into pitch darkness. What are we going to get in there? The last time we were in here, 2019, it was very, very active. I've been asking some of the people of the museum in here, what kind of things have you been getting, because we've had lockdowns, this place has been empty for such a long time. What has that done to the activity in this place? Well, apparently quite a lot. Quite a lot of things have happened. We're going to chat to some of these guys in just a few seconds time when we go through. I believe we are live now on Radio Shields. So we're going out. If you're listening in your cars, if you're listening at home, this is going to be a live paranormal investigation. We are going to be going into a place that has got so much history. We are going to be doing this as an investigation. We are going to be putting people into places that will be beyond their comfort zone. And of course, we will be using our own pieces of equipment. If you think this might be something you will be uncomfortable listening to, probably best you don't listen. But if you're really into it, get some sweets together, get a drink together. We're going to have a good night. We're on YouTube as well. If you're watching on YouTube, Dead Air TV, that's the YouTube channel. We are on there. We've got people, if you want to come and watch us, we've got Kyle is down here. Half Job is currently doing some connections with the radio, and Phil is lurking about somewhere. He's going to be doing something tonight that will put him out of his comfort zone. And he's brought his daughter, who's currently the camera operator tonight. She's behind the camera, Afton. So we are going to be, in fact, we've got Half Job right here, right now. Are we all good?
We are. We're
Right.
on the air now.
We're on the air. Let's go inside. Afton's probably the best camera operator with Kyle. I can bring Kyle in. Just come close to the microphone, Kyle. He has been shaking all the way down in the car. We've done one ghost hunt where we took Kyle down. He's just checking the DABs on. And that was probably a location that was quite low on the Richter scale in terms of paranormal activity, and you were terrified.
I was quite terrified. Would it be the first official ghost hunt to be on? So it's going to be interesting tonight to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We've already had.
So I'm not doing a Matt Hancock. You've just got to get close to the microphone.
Yes,
we're going to get you the microphone, but we're not doing a Matt Hancock where you all over that.
Should have brought out of the microphone.
We'll head inside. We'll meet some of the staff. So just follow us through. We're going to go into. In fact, why not tell some stories out here, because we've got one out here. And this Nissan is just over here. Can you just bring the camera over here? I want to show you. You can probably see, if you get the camera through that fence, some cars in a car park through there. That's Nissan. You can't get through there. They won't let us in. Security will have a fitter for you to try to go through there right now. There used to be a hangar. This was RAF Uxbridge. That was an airfield at one point. There was a hangar in that car park called the Lamella hangar, and it was a huge structure. It's only recently, in the last 15 years or so, been knocked down. People who've worked at Nissan over the past decade or so might remember it. It's got a story linked to it. It was one of the most haunted buildings in this area. There was a man called George Hamilton. He was Canadian, but he was serving here in the RAF base, and it was a hot sunny day, and he decided to climb up onto the top of the hangar because he wanted to catch the rays. While he was sunbathing, he rolled over, fell asleep, and fell off the side of the building. He was killed. And for years afterwards, people who worked at Nissan, security guards, have seen him. There was a flying club before Nissan was even there. A flying club used that hangar, and they used to see him. One guy even said he saw him 3 times, and described him as having a moustache. One man called Steve was even working on a plane as part of the flying club, and he said an RAF man walked past him, didn't say hello to him, put his thumbs up at him, and then vanished. Now that's been demolished, like I say, since mid-2000s. And I've got a close friend who worked in Nissan, did the patrols at night, good friend of mine, Richard, and he said, I asked him, didn't tell him the story, I asked him, have you got any ghost stories from Nissan? He said, well, I feel a bit funny in one part. I said, which part? And he said, well, walking around doing the patrols. I said, well, which part doing the patrols? And he showed me to the car park right at the back. You always feel as if you're being watched. And that's where the Lamella hangar once stood. So George is still there, apparently, even though the hangar has long gone. So we're going to just walk inside the museum. Now, we are doing this for charity, by the way. We are doing this because, as you are aware, there is an ongoing situation in Europe at the minute, in Ukraine. Over 1.5 million people so far have been displaced from their homes, who have fled the country, who have tried their best to get away. It's causing all sorts of casualties, deaths. There really is an absolute situation going on over there, and we are doing our best to try and get you to donate, because we can't stop this war. Whatever's happening over there is ongoing, but what we can do is send some aid over there. We are supporting the British Ukrainian aid in doing all of this tonight. So, like I say, if you are listening on Radio Shields, or you're watching us on YouTube or whatever, please share it. If you're watching, put it on Facebook, share it with your friends. We'll have a good night. You're not missing Ant and Deck, don't worry there. You can watch that again. We are live. We are going on a go, so we don't know what's going to happen. We've already had stuff happen tonight. We were given a little tour of the hangars. We came back into the entrance of the shop that's just there. That's our hub, that's where all our equipment are tonight. And these guys will back me up. I went and I opened the door, the stone came flying across, hit me on the chest. And I still think, part in the back of my mind, it's a prank. They are swearing down adamant it wasn't. In fact, they only heard the stone. So everybody heard it, I felt it. Stuff's happening tonight. Stone throwing is one of the main things that happen in this museum. So we're going to go in, we're going to chat to some of the, we're going to try and find some of the people who are working here. Got Keith and David in tonight. And we'll do this door. You walk into like a nice little shop. Good if you want to bring the kids down on the day off. Kids' toys. And I never thought that I would get paranormal activity in the one part of this museum that's not got any attachments, any history linked to it. I'm just going to get my microphone so we can go and chat to some of the staff in here tonight. So we've moved out into open space. You can straight away see in the shadows planes to my straight ahead Vulcan bomber. You won't be able to see that just yet, it's a bit dark. Northeast Airlines on your right, that is a 1970s plane. We'll find out a little bit more about that here. Planes all over the place. Each of these hangars stores something that is either planes, helicopters, we've even got cars in here. We'll be finding out a little bit about those. In fact, I've got a little quiz question for you if you want to. We'll tell you the answer when we go into there later on. Name a car maker that was built, or a car that was built in Washington. You're not allowed to call it a Nissan. It's not a Nissan. It's not a Datsun, not a Nissan. There was a car, and we've got one, in that hangar over there, that is from Washington, tiny wheel. See if you can remember what it is. We'll tell you the answers very, very soon. We're going to go inside. We're going to look for some of the stuff. Turn this microphone on. We found him. The man himself, Keith. You are the guy who makes all the paranormal stuff in here happen. I've known you since 2009. I think I came and did my first paranormal investigation. It's great to see you're still heavily involved in this place, and we've got David somewhere around as well, who's going to be joining us later on. So just tell us your background, how you got involved in the Aircraft Museum.
Well, I've been with the museum over 20 odd years, but the museum had various things happening years ago. Things were getting moved, doors were getting opened and shut and different things. And they actually brought a ghost team in to investigate the place. And they came to the conclusion that on that particular night, there was at least 25 spirits just here.
On this site.
Yeah.
Because I was just telling the camera a few moments ago that this is obviously not many people know. People know Nissan, but they don't know about the airport. It was with RAF base that was here. There's a lot of history on that land underneath what is now factory and assembly lines.
Yes, I mean, when you think the airfield used to go right across, virtually, the A19 actually cuts it in two. So it was huge at one point. First World War, it was just grass. It was just a grassy field. But the Second World War, it was a proper airfield.
In its time, and I think especially the Second World War, it saw a lot of action. Unfortunate accidents have happened there. Of course, the Battle of Britain, every plane on that runway was in the sky at one point. This place was absolutely buzzing at one point.
Yes, it was. As soon as war broke out, they had, because this place was basically a training field, but they also had squadrons here that were battle ready. And as soon as the war broke out, they sent them down to Biggin Hill, and from here. They did quite well. Blackadder was one.
We can see that.
There's a list of all the pilots that were here.
Yeah.
When war broke out, they sent all of them down to Biggin Hill.
Yeah. And of course, everyone will notice the third from top, named Blackadder.
Yes.
But that is not a coincidence. That you will know the TV show, Blackadder, and that came from this gentleman.
Yes, he actually went right through the war. He did quite well. And at the end of the war, he was a lecturer at Durham University, and he actually taught Rowan Atkinson. That's where the name comes from.
And I'm assuming he just liked the name Blackadder and thought that would make a great TV show.
From what I've been told, he actually asked him if he could use his name. So, hence Blackadder.
So there you go. You probably didn't know that, but Blackadder has links to this place, the County Durham Squadron, and it's fascinating stuff. In fact, there's so many things in here that are fascinating. We're going to have a little walk through, so let's follow through, because I didn't realise this until earlier on today when we were doing our research. I think you knew. Tonight is a bit of a special night. I totally didn't realise, this is a coincidence by the way, we didn't realise this was happening until early on. There is an RAF pilot that is linked to this base. There is a memorial to him in there. Tonight is the anniversary, or today is the anniversary of the fatal accident that happened. So if we go through, we'll be able to have a look at. So we'll go to the right here. So this is obviously viewers, part of the museum, part of the street scene, yeah. So if we just go through into, we'll find Edgar's staircase. So I'm walking through, it's obviously not an original street, it's a replica set up for part of the museum. The main point here where we've got activity in here, you've seen something here which is incredible. But this is where I want to be tonight, because this is incredible. You've set this up. This is a display case of basically parts of Edwin's plane, Edgar's plane, sorry. So it was on this night, or on this day 80 years ago, the 12th of March 1942. He was practicing, he was doing a training mission at the time.
Yes, it was. He took off from here at about 8:30
PM.
Yeah.
Right.
And they flew down to where they used to train manoeuvring and what have you, down to Whitehurwith Farm near Wingate, and they were practicing head-on manoeuvres, and they both, and obviously they came towards each other, but they both went the same way.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, the full wing of his plane got knocked clean off, and he just spun straight into the ground. But the other one actually flew back here. So he seemed to be all right. He actually visits the place in spirit.
Yeah. But there was a story a while ago that he was looking for his boots, because the boots were found, and they are in this place, aren't they, somewhere?
No, what happened was when we dug all this lot up, which was about 20 odd feet down, we came across his boats, but his boats went back in.
So they're still in the ground?
Yes.
Right. And like you say, there is his grave. I think there's a photograph of it on the display. If you ever come to the museum, it's just here, this bottom one. And like I say, the date there, where does it say? Somewhere on here. Killed March. He was only 21 years old, so, you know, barely a kid. And that was actually his second crash of the war, I believe.
Yes, he volunteered to fly Hurricanes over to Norway, and he actually crash landed a one over there.
Yeah. And
he was reported missing, and it took the underground over a week to get him back over here on a fishing boat. And he was reported missing, and they thought, that's it, he's gone, but obviously he came back and carried on with his training. And he went to Canada. Those pictures show when he was in Canada. And then he came back here for further training, and that was it.
It's a tragic story, but like I say, you've got so many artefacts that were recovered from the crash sites that are still, you've got on display here. Little bits of metal, bits of engine. In fact, I don't even know how you identify some of these, because barely recognisable. They're just little fragments, really.
Yes, there's all bits and pieces. It just all depends what some of it's recognisable. There's bits of the radio, bits of his parachute harness up there, his parachutes up on the top.
Yeah. which he didn't get to use.
No,
in the
he
end.
didn't get to use it.
Part of the reason was he was stuck. Or we've been shown some photographs here, or screenshots coming in. Oh, it's me. So
Yes.
we in portrait mode on the YouTube.
We are. We are.
Any way to switch that round, or
Yes. If we could you just assist us after with this? And we'll try
we're
and
just
turn it
sorting
around.
out the YouTube. We're apparently in the wrong. We're in portrait mode. But don't worry, we'll continue on the video while we sort all that out. So yeah, if you do come to the aircraft museum in the main hangar, the big hangar, you will see that there is a display unit for Edgar Grenville Shaw. It is here. You just look in and you just see all the parts of the plane that were found that crashed 80 years ago on this site. Now we've got half job doing the camera work with us tonight, so that's probably the reason why. I think he's what we're doing. We're going on portrait mode. Harry half job. We're sorting all that out. Don't worry if you're listening on the radio. We will carry on going. Looking at some of the planes in here. Where's David's here? You were telling me, David. David's another one of the volunteers that work here. I totally didn't notice it, but you've had this quite a while, and I've only just realised it. This is a plane from the Falklands War. It was an Argentine plane.
That's
How has this ended up in a British museum?
Well, apparently it was parked up on the runway when the runway was bombed, and
Is that what it needs to be?
it had the shot at it. It's got bullet holes in it, and the Ministry of Defence in the wisdom packed them all up, stuck them on a ship and brought them back.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
Once they'd done what they wanted to do with them, they asked the museum if anybody had space for them.
Yeah.
And we were one that had undercover space in a hangar, and we managed to get one of them.
And of course, the story about it being painted blue. It's supposed to be blue, but it's not.
Yeah, well, at the start of the conflict, they got all the cars together so they could uniformly paint them all, and then realised that they didn't have the blue paint they wanted. So there's a Volkswagen car plant in Argentina, and they just got the paint off there, just took it off the production line, and sprayed all these paints with car paint. That's why it's looking in such a sorry state, because car paint isn't as robust as everything.
Yeah, so it's obviously flown its miles, and the air resistance has gone over it, and basically taken off the paint we've got. But and I'm assuming that part of the, people will say, well, why didn't we paint it? But that's part of the backstory.
That's part of the important story of this airfield.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is actually the second one. This is the second one that we had. The first one we got was in a terrible state. Because obviously shipping it back on the deck of the ship. The sea air and
salt.
everything was absolutely dropped to pieces, so that went away and we got a better version. But you can see it's still got the Argentinian flag on it as well.
So I'm assuming they've never asked for it back.
No.
And I don't think the request would be very well answered if they did.
When we actually looked at it, it still had the parachutes and everything in it.
Right. So it's just totally abandoned.
Just as it was, yeah.
And I'm assuming MOD at the time would have gone over it like a tooth comb to find out if there was anything secret in there. And I suppose like any war, if you've got an enemy plane, you go over it and you check.
We actually kept one airworthy, and we actually flew it to evaluate. And the rest were dished out in museums.
It's a fantastic story, and like I say, it's one of the first planes you see when you come into this place. Like fantastic story as well. We've got some even writing on the side of the plane. If there's any doubt, it was Argentinian. And I believe as well there's a sound plane somewhere in here. You showed me yesterday.
The lightning.
The Lightning, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a good story.
So many planes that probably have so many backstories to them. It's weird. Yeah.
It was actually polished. Totally polished when we got it. Right. And but as it was before the soldiers got it.
So you're not allowed to paint it.
So that's now as it was before they got it.
When you see that, when you stand under it, you know, you can walk directly under that almost. And the wings itself, huge things. And there's a, I don't know if you know the saying, an engine of the plane is the heart of the plane, but the pilot is the soul. And there seems to be a thing, a connection between pilots who flew some of these planes and
Yeah.
why some of these people are still here.
Yeah, they sort of attach themselves to them. You know, it's something that we,
Passion.
yeah. I know that one's very active just in that area there.
Right.
It's an awful lot of activity there.
So you think it could be someone linked to the Saudi plane?
Yeah, possibly.
So in terms of activity that you get in this hangar itself, I'm assuming Shaw with his remains, well, obviously the plane remains are still here. I'm assuming Shaw is one of the main, this is one of his hangout spots.
Yes.
See when it all kicks off. If we end it, it'll end everything the way.
See pictures of Lakeland.
So I think we're just gonna have to put it back on and people just have to turn their phones. Can we try that again? So put that on.
And then the barmaid was locked in the toilets and various things was happening down there. Until we got
Just had a bang, I don't know what that was.
until we got
I'm trying to get away, you know. So that was with that.
and then of course he was happy because everything else came back in.
Was on that side.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to go into one of the other hangars in just a bit. We're going to have a little look around this museum before we really get going with the paranormal investigation. We'll have a little break because I think the guys operating the camera are having a bit of trouble. Are we going or are we not? We'll come back in a bit. We'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to have a look at the settings.
The settings on
Well,
here.
obviously the automatic orientation's been switched off.
It has, hasn't
You
it?
go into the settings of the picture, so that as you
We're
turn
not live.
you go to live
It is
view, and then it'll go
If we end it,
automatic.
right?
Set the tripod to make it.
We'll have to just end it. End it.